No hard feelings, right? Change is good. She said it with her feet propped up on my desk, where I had sat for 8 years, her fingers drumming on the armrest, like she had already claimed it. Around us, 23 people chewed pastries, laughed, while bright pink letters spelled out exactly what they thought of me. Thanks for nothing. That's what the banner said. Someone had even brought balloons, as if my departure was a birthday celebration, instead of a calculated removal. I stood there, holding my lunch bag, watching this 26-year-old woman wear my professional life like a costume she had just tried on. Nobody had told me I was leaving. Nobody had sent a message or scheduled a conversation. They simply decided my time was up and threw themselves a party to mark it. What kind of person celebrates someone's end while that person is still standing right there? What does it say about a workplace when they can laugh and eat cake 3 feet away from the woman they are erasing? My name is Fallon. I'm 34, unmarried, no children. People always assumed that meant my life was empty, that I had nothing better to do than serve others. What they didn't understand was that I had built something rare. I wasn't just good at my job. I was irreplaceable, or at least I thought I was. Management didn't agree. They thought anyone could do what I did. Anyone could manage him. Carlisle, the founding member, 91 years old, his family had created this entire retreat 60 years ago, a sanctuary on 200 acres of protected land for 40 ultra-exclusive members, people who didn't need another spa. They needed absolute privacy and total accommodation of their eccentricities. Membership cost more than most people earned in 3 years, with a waiting list that stretched back a decade. And 90% of those members were there because Carlisle had invited them personally. His network was the foundation of everything. His preferences were so specific. Most staff lasted 3 weeks before quitting. I lasted 8 years. 8 years of learning that he wanted his tea at exactly 3:47 p.m. because that's when his late wife used to serve it to him. 8 years of understanding that his newspapers had to be ironed because the smell of fresh ink gave him severe headaches. 8 years of knowing he folded his towels in thirds because his mother had taught him that way when he was 7. These weren't random demands from a difficult old man. They were anchors, rituals that kept him tethered to the people he had lost. I understood that. I respected it. And somewhere along the way, he started trusting me with pieces of himself he didn't share with anyone else. When he casually mentioned the garden path was uneven, I had it repaired before he walked it again. When he said the morning light was too harsh in the reading room, I had new window treatments installed overnight. I didn't do this because I was subservient. I did it because excellence in service isn't about bowing. It's about paying attention. But caring doesn't matter when someone decides you cost too much. Management had been whispering for months. Efficiency, modernization. They wanted someone who could split time between multiple members, handle administrative work. They wanted to pay one person less instead of paying me what I was worth. I thought my track record would protect me. I thought 8 years of perfect service would count for something. I was wrong. They didn't even have the decency to fire me properly. They just hired my replacement, threw a party, and assumed I would understand the message. The woman sitting in my chair was named Bryn, fresh from hospitality school. A resume full of words like multitask and innovate. She told someone loudly that she was excited to bring fresh ideas, to modernize how things were done. She had no idea what she was talking about. No idea that the entire retreat existed because of one man's vision. And that honoring that vision was the only thing keeping the place alive. I looked at Bryn, her bright smile, her confident posture, and I felt something shift inside me. Not anger, not hurt, just clarity. They had made their choice. They decided I was disposable, and she was the future. Now, they would get to see exactly what that choice meant. I walked toward the banner, picked up a small piece of vanilla cake. Bryn watched me approach. Her smile widened, like we were old friends, instead of replaced and replacement. No hard feelings, right? She said again, gesturing at the decorations. Change is good. It certainly is, I replied. My voice was steady. Calm, I ate the cake slowly, tasting nothing. Then I set my lunch bag down on an empty chair. Enjoy everything. I turned around, walked out through the side entrance, got in my car and drove home. That was Wednesday afternoon. I didn't go back Thursday, didn't go back Friday, didn't call, didn't text, didn't explain. They threw me a goodbye party while I was still employed. So As far as I was concerned, they had already decided I was gone. I was just agreeing with them. My phone started buzzing around noon on Thursday, 17 calls by Friday evening. I ignored every single one. What's there to say? They had made their position clear, with balloons and cake. What they didn't know was what I had learned during those 8 years of paying attention. Carlisle had very particular feelings about loyalty. His wife had been with him for 68 years. 68 years of marriage. And in all that time, she never missed a single birthday or anniversary. She never canceled plans for something better. She never made him feel like he was secondary to anything else. After she died 2 years ago, something in him shifted. He became intensely focused on consistency, on faithfulness. He told me this once, while I was ironing his newspaper. He looked up from his book and said, "Fallon, I can forgive many things. Mistakes, accidents, even incompetence. But I cannot forgive betrayal. I cannot forgive disloyalty. When someone shows you they don't value you, believe them." I had nodded then, not fully understanding why he was telling me this. Now, I understood perfectly. He had also been discussing his estate recently, planning to donate the entire property to a preservation trust, ensuring the retreat would continue and everyone's jobs would be protected. But privately, during one of our afternoon walks, he told me he was reconsidering. He wanted to make sure his legacy, so he went to people who valued it, people who understood loyalty. I never told anyone about these conversations. They weren't mine to share, but sitting in my apartment on Friday evening, watching my phone buzz, I realized something. I didn't need to plot or scheme or orchestrate some elaborate plan. I just needed to not be there. I just needed to let them show him exactly who they were without me running interference. So I stayed home. I stayed quiet and I waited. Monday morning, my phone lit up, 6:47 a.m. A text from Gemma, one of the few people who had actually been kind to me. She had been on vacation during the party. "Fallon, what happened? The place is completely shut down. Everyone got termination notices. They say we have 30 days to clear out. Please call me." I stared at the message for a long time. My hands were shaking. Not from fear, from something that felt like vindication mixed with disbelief. I called her. She answered on the first ring. "Fallon." Her voice was thick, like she had been crying. "What is going on? There are locks on the gates. Security told me the retreat is permanently closing. How is this possible? Tell me what you heard," I said. She took a shaky breath. "They said Carlisle came in Thursday morning, asked for you specifically. They told him you left, that they hired someone better, someone more efficient. Bryn brought him his tea at 3:45. He didn't say anything, just waited. Then she brought his newspaper. He asked why it wasn't ironed." Gemma paused. "Fallon," she laughed at him. She actually laughed, said nobody irons newspapers anymore, that it was wasteful. Then at lunch, she sat at his table, started chatting with him about her ideas for modernizing the retreat. I closed my eyes. I could picture it perfectly. Carlisle sitting there, watching this stranger dismantle everything he valued while calling it progress. "What did he do?" I asked. "Nothing," Gemma said. "He just stood up and left." But Friday morning, his lawyers arrived. By Friday afternoon, termination letters were delivered. The property is being sold to a private buyer. 60 years of operation. Gone in 2 days. "What about the managers?" I asked quietly. "Gone. The operations director, the hospitality coordinator." "Bryn, but Fallon, here's the thing that's making everyone lose their minds. Carlisle specifically asked for the list of attendees from Wednesday's party. Someone had taken pictures. Everyone who was at that party got fired. The people who weren't involved got taken care of. My throat felt tight. How many people weren't at the party? 7. Only 7 of us. We get 3 months severance and references. The other 23 get nothing. Their contracts were terminated for cause: disloyalty. Failure to maintain professional standards. I thought about Bryn, sitting in my spot with her feet propped up, telling me change was good. I thought about the banner, the balloons, the cake. The way they laughed like my absence was something to celebrate. "There's one more thing," Gemma said, her voice dropping. "He left a note, posted in the main hall before they locked everything down. It said, 'Loyalty is not optional. It is everything.' Just that one sentence. We talked for a few more minutes, but there wasn't much else to say. After I hung up, I sat on my couch, trying to process what had happened. I hadn't orchestrated this. I hadn't manipulated anything. I simply stopped showing up after they threw me a goodbye party while I was still employed. Everything else had been his choice, his response to discovering that the people he trusted had discarded someone without even the basic courtesy of a proper termination. The story spread fast. Our industry is small, connected, insular. By Tuesday, everyone knew what had happened at the retreat. By Wednesday, I started getting calls from other establishments. They wanted to know if I was available. They wanted to know what I had done to earn that kind of loyalty from Carlisle. I didn't know how to answer. I hadn't done anything except my job. Day after day, for 8 years, I paid attention. I cared. Apparently, that was rare enough to be remarkable. One of the calls came from a place I had heard about, but never thought I would work at, an estate that managed itself so privately, most people didn't even know it existed. The woman on the phone introduced herself as Petra. I work for a family that values discretion, she said. We heard what happened with Carlisle. We'd like to speak with you about a position, similar work, but broader, triple the pay, housing on the property. But the expectation was absolute loyalty and complete discretion. What happens in this family stays in this family. Can you handle that? I thought about it for exactly 3 seconds. Yes. The next day, a car arrived at exactly 10. Not a rideshare, driver in a suit, 40 minutes in complete silence, to a property that made the retreat look modest. Petra met me at the entrance, led me through hallways lined with museum-quality art, into a sitting room where an elderly woman waited. "This is Constance," Petra said. Constance looked at me. Her eyes were sharp. "Sit," she said, direct, not unkind. "Carlo called me," she began. "Told me what happened with his retreat. Told me you were the only person there who understood what loyalty meant. He said you never asked for anything, never complained. And when they decided that wasn't valuable, you walked away, rather than beg for a position they had already given to someone else. Is that accurate?" "Yes," I said. "Why didn't you fight for your job? Why didn't you tell him what they had done?" I thought about how to answer that, because it wasn't my place. My job was to serve him, not to involve him in workplace politics. If I had gone to him and complained, I would have been using our relationship as leverage. That would have been its own kind of disloyalty. I said exactly that. Constance smiled. Small, barely there, but genuine. "You understand the difference between loyalty and manipulation," she said. "Most people don't. They think loyalty means using your connection to benefit yourself. Real loyalty means honoring the relationship, even when it costs you something." She set down her tea. "You start Monday. Welcome to the family, Fallon." That first month taught me what real wealth looked like. Not the kind that shows off, the kind that whispers. It was complex work. Predicting sleep patterns, maintaining absolute silence, memorizing the exact angles of book spines on a nightstand, but I understood it. My job was to make the architecture of their lives invisible, to make everything feel effortless. Petra watched me carefully, and eventually, she smiled. "You're going to be just fine here." While my new life was taking shape, my old one was collapsing. 3 months in, I got an email from Bryn. The subject line read, "Please read." I almost deleted it. She had applied to 17 positions. Every single one called Carlisle for a reference. He wouldn't speak to them. He just had his assistant send a 1-sentence response. "I cannot recommend this person. She couldn't get hired anywhere, not in hospitality, not in service, not even in retail management. Please tell someone I'm not a terrible person," she begged. I made a mistake. I laughed when I should have listened. I read it 3 times. I thought about her sitting in my spot, with her feet up, telling me change was good. I closed the email without responding. 2 weeks later, Grant called, the former operations director. "You destroyed 23 people's careers," he said. "You let an old man throw a tantrum that cost us everything." "I didn't let anything burn," I replied quietly. "I stopped showing up after you threw me a party to celebrate getting rid of me. What happened after that was your choice." "We were cutting costs," he snapped. "It was a business decision." "Then accept the business consequences," I said. He went quiet. Then he asked for a favor. He knew I worked for the Harrington family now. He wanted me to vouch for them. "One word from you, and people would hire us." I paused. "You want me to risk my reputation to save yours?" "We didn't know how much Carlisle valued you," he pleaded. "That's the problem," I said. "You would have kept me only because I was useful to someone powerful. Not because I earned it. That's not loyalty. That's fear. And I don't work with people who only value me when they're afraid of what I might cost them." I hung up, blocked his number. I didn't respond to the 14 other emails that followed over the next 6 months. Not out of cruelty, out of honesty. I couldn't recommend people who had celebrated my removal while I was standing right there. 6 months later, I was at a private event for estate managers, standing near the refreshment area. When I saw her, Leslie, the woman who had worn the party hat, she was serving drinks. Our eyes met. She went pale. Surprise shifted to embarrassment, then to panic. She turned away quickly, but it was too late. We both understood what that moment meant. She was serving drinks, while I represented one of the most private families in the country. The distance between us had become immeasurable. 5 years have passed. I am still with the Harrington family. Petra retired. Constance promoted me to senior staff, full authority. The 23 people who celebrated my departure, they scattered. Bryn is managing properties, never dealing with clients, never in a position where her judgment matters. Grant tried to approach me at a professional event once. Security removed him before he could speak. I keep Carlisle's letter in my drawer, the one he sent after everything happened. They forgot that trust, once broken, cannot be rebuilt. He was right. But what I've learned since is that trust isn't just about what you do. It's about what you refuse to do. I refused to beg for a job. I refused to use Carlisle for politics. I refused to recommend people I didn't trust. The revenge wasn't something I planned. It was something they created for themselves. When you break loyalty proudly with balloons and cake and a banner that says, "Thanks for nothing," you don't get to be surprised when it costs you everything. I let them celebrate. And then I let them discover exactly what my presence had been protecting them from all along.